This mystery box was sent to me by a good friend who's an audio gearhead just like me, as well as an audio professional for over 20 years. So let's open this up. We started gear swapping as a way to try out gear that we didn't necessarily want to buy or be under the pressure to return. Or maybe we needed something for a specific one-off recording session. Funny enough, in all my years, I never really considered gear swapping with friends. I feel like I should have done this a long time ago. One of the big problems in today's studio gear shopping online is the ability to really try out the gear before you buy them. And even more so now that we live in the post-COVID world. Now, I know that there are some try and buy online services, and ease of returning does make things a little better. But as I look back, online shopping simply cannot compare with the way I used to shop for gear in stores. I used to spend hours at Guitar Center playing with synthesizers or listening to multiple sets of loudspeakers, like 5 or 6 pairs, and really getting to know the gear. This just isn't practical with online shopping. There's also very little real organic discovery of other related or non-related gear, no matter what those nifty website algorithms will tell you or suggest to you to buy. Finally, you just run into people. You meet people who are just starting out that you can maybe give your 2 cents to, and others who you can get advice from. You run into old friends and maybe even make new ones. This is such a hugely underrated aspect of in-store shopping. I don't know what the answer is in this post-Amazon COVID world, but I sorely miss it. We all don't live near the Sweetwater Superstore, and I think the days of the giant audio superstore chains are long gone, perhaps. Many of the existing stores kind of carry all the same things because it's just too risky to carry obscure gear in their stores. So it's the same boring old gear that you might as well just shop for online. And let me know what you guys think about all of this. I would love to know and hear from you guys. So gear swapping with friends, at least in my theory, will fill in some of those missing gaps that online shopping doesn't provide. As I mentioned before, my friend sent me this piece of gear to me thinking that I would love to try it out, but I didn't know what it was until I opened it. So gear swapping with friends could also be, surprise, gear with friends swapping. One thing that I'm learning is to keep the gear swap under a certain price range. I'm actually a bit nervous about this Mooger analog delay. As I looked it up, it's become quite the collectible, and it's been also discontinued, so replacing it would not be easy at all. I don't know what the right amount here is, but perhaps is $1,000 or maybe even under $500, which are shipping insurance thresholds that would be a lot easier to claim if something were to go wrong. And also there is an obvious gentleman or gentlewoman's agreement where you have to be responsible for it end to end and be trustworthy. Another thing that can and will happen is cosmetic damage. If you're concerned about cosmetic blemishes, you may want to consider gear that's a lot more rugged or it's got some wear and tear already. My GR1 was part of this gear swap with my friend, but one day he emailed me panicked saying that there's a small nick in the front. He felt terrible about it. Now, gladly, the GR1 isn't the prettiest thing in the world. It kind of looks like a medical device that measures your blood pressure or something. Now, I love the GR1, don't get me wrong, but it's not winning any design awards for its looks. So I really didn't mind small nicks and scratches, honestly. In fact, when gear swapping, you should be fully prepared to have your gear back with some additional wear and tear. This seems pretty obvious, but you gotta insure your gear and make sure that the packaging is solid and reusable so that it can easily be shipped back. And don't forget to use a reputable shipper with proper tracking. Obviously, bigger the network of friends, the more gear that will be available, but also for more things to go wrong. I don't know what the right answer is here, other than the emphasis is on growing your friends' network that can be really trusted. Certainly, this can be formalized with Discord and Facebook groups. Others are also super closed and private, like me and my friend. Just know that this relationship, the shared moments and geeking out about gear, for me is as important, perhaps even more so than the gear shopping itself. My good friend and I have monthly meets where we just shoot the breeze, talking about the latest gear discovery and talk shop just for hours. In fact, I try to get him on this channel, but he's a little shy. So if you want to encourage him, write that in the comments below. So I went through all this trouble to hook up the Mooger Fooger analog delay into this setup here, and I thought to maybe just do a little jam session based on my favorite chord. It's not really my favorite, it's just that it's the kind of chord structure that you don't hear often in top 40 popular music, but in cinema and film and television world, you hear it pretty much everywhere. And one of the interesting things that I thought to explore today quickly was the expectation of major and minor within this. So if you were to layer this particular chord, so that resolves right to me, right? But what if you were to just stay on the augmented fifth while you're kind of going down to that major sixth with the bass line? Whoa, now it's like, Horrorville here. And it's also really receptive to like big, which is cool, but you can also go. It's really receptive to these big stabby orchestral hits. So you can have these quiet moments, but you can also take the same, do big things with it. So that's what's so fun about these chord structures. As you kind of understand how they work, you can kind of do crazy thing with it. The hard work, of course, is taking these raw ideas and the hard work is taking these raw ideas and first placing it with picture in the right appropriate emotional context. That's really the hard part, because you can come up with these cool chords, whatever, but if you're, you got to pick the right moment, you got to connect with the director and all that. So that's like one of the hardest parts. Is it appropriate for the scene? The second part is, the hard work of the actual production. Obviously, the piano is sort of this vanilla canvas, but you've got to orchestrate this thing and put it with other instruments, interesting textures, innovative constructs and sound sources, so that is interesting instead of again this just kind of piano. Piano can work just fine too at times, but that's where the hard work is. And so it's easy for me to kind of break this down, but the hard work is really there, and that nuanced sync to picture and orchestration is where the hard work is. But as sort of a spectator kind of person who understands theory a lot and how they work, it's fun to kind of dissect these things and kind of figure out how it works, which is fun. But I will never forget the hard work and the genius it takes for you to take this raw material, and put it to the right kind of emotional context. So anyway, I thought the little short fun thing Hope you have a great time, or I hope you had a great time listening to this little bit, and I will see you guys next time, okay? Whoa.